Holly, what misunderstandings do you see the most often around AMT, and how can investors inadvertently avoid triggering preference items as the law expires, or other things that they may not fully appreciate at this moment in time?
So the biggest misunderstanding about the AMT is that it's something we don't have to worry about anymore. Prior to the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, about 5 million Americans were subject to the AMT. Post TCJA, only about 200,000 Americans were subject to the AMT. But the rules are changing now in 2026 because of the One Big Beautiful Bill, and we are going to see more Americans subject to it, and we need to recognize that and pay attention. So here's how the rules are changing. The exemption phase-out threshold is going to decrease to 2018 levels. So that's $500,000 for single filers, $1 million for married filing jointly. But perhaps more significantly, once you cross over that threshold, it's going to phase out at twice the rate that it had been phasing out at under the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. So we really need to look at those controllable AMT preference items. And the two big controllables are incentive stock options, which were admittedly far more prevalent in 2017 and are really now, we only see them in the biotech space commonly. But as a reminder, the spread on those ISOs is an AMT preference item. The place where I worry people are missing them is on private activity bonds. Private activity bonds, as a reminder, are those quasi-public private bonds that are tax-free, that we think of as being like munis. They pay out at a slightly higher rate, but if you trigger AMT, they become taxable. So since the enactment of the TCJA, we've really thought of them as being like munis. And going forward under OBBB, we need to reframe, go back to our portfolios and look for those private activity bonds that could trigger AMT or could become taxable going forward, and having a conversation with our financial advisors and with our CPAs about our potential AMT exposure and our private activity bond exposure is going to be really important.